Hello, welcome to my class. You'll notice that I've brought you to my Canvas page today. And if you look above, you'll see kind of a large module that shows a whole bunch of my assignments, but we're not really going to use it. What I've done is I've kind of collapsed down a section of what could be in a module that says multiple means of engagement. I've just kind of reduced this to what we need to fulfill the requirements of the task at hand today. The lesson that we're going to work with today has to do with learning to use the rhythm handout that I have in preparation for a piece of music that we'll be using for our winter concert. The piece of music is Deck the Halls, and we need to work with eighth note subdivision. And what we'll be working with is rhythm syllables. And the syllables we are using is the do-ta-de-ta syllables that are focused on in the work of Dr. Edwin Gordon. And so the first thing I need to show you is the music that we'll be using, and that's found usually on my Canvas page up in the Music Resources section in the supplemental music. I'm not going to open up that now. I'm just going to go ahead and open up where I put it in this as music needed. Normally I wouldn't put this in there. I have a whole bunch of sheets of music. Right now I'm just going to open up the rhythm handout, show that the music that's needed is those. So I'll go ahead and go up. I'll go back to the modules page, and I will open that up. So I'll go up to the supplemental music in the music resources. I'm always at the top of my page, and I'll open up not the basic rhythms page, but just the page that we need. This has all of the rhythms, but we're going to focus specifically on rhythm pattern 6. And I have written in the syllables. I'm going to go ahead and leave that open. And then I'm going to go back to the modules and come back down to what we're working on. In the music needed, eventually we'll need Deck the Halls. I'm not going to open that up right now. We'll also eventually need the articulation exercise 2. I'm not going to open that up either. So I'm going to click on Next. I have a handout that I have available that I have in there, and it looks like I may have not got the handout there. Let me see if I have the handout attached here. Okay, I do have the handout available in the previous module. So it is available for download. So this handout gives an explanation of how these syllables work. I will explain to my students that this handout is optional and that we are only going to use part of the handout for what we're working on. and it is not an assignment that has to be submitted. That they can just go through and they can work on it as review. And the answer key is actually included so that they can go through and check their work. And they can come back to me if they have questions. Clicking back to the module page. Back down to the module. Then I have a section that is optional videos. This rhythm practice handout is actually me showing, and in this video I demonstrate how to use an articulation exercise that is in the supplemental music that we use every single day as part of our warm-ups, and how it is used in conjunction with this rhythm handout, and how it's used as part of daily practice. So eventually, once they get comfortable with this rhythm, it can be performed with the articulation exercise demonstrated in that video. And then I've also included 2 different videos with people that have faces other than mine that go through exercises using the Duta data, rhythm syllables, and eighth note subdivisions. Now, as I mentioned, this is not the first time that the students have seen the eighth note subdivision. I'll come back to the supplemental music, and again I'll point out that we are starting to work on this piece of music for our winter concert. And this measure 3, is the pattern that we're working on. And it corresponds to rhythm pattern 6, which is do, 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 day, do, day, do, do. Do, day, do, day, do, do. Again, the unfortunate thing about this whole thing, this whole little exercise, that I wish I had a better opportunity for, is of all the multiple means of engagement that I have available to me that I wish I could share with you, that I've given you a couple of the means of engagement that I could use, that I can make optional to my students to use outside of class, and I use occasionally in class. Sometimes I'll show some of these videos to help them out, but because of time constraints, my biggest tool is the call and response, where I use true direct instruction, where I demonstrate and then they respond back to me by playing it back to me. But since it's summer break, I'm not able to actually do that. I wish that I could actually do that for you here. So, to answer the 3 questions, do I understand the connection between multiple means of engagement and blended instruction in my class context? I think so. I think that having different ways for the students to be able to grasp the information and to be able to practice their things, their content. I think the handouts are something for them to be able to use. I give them opportunities to be able to clap things out so they can get a psychomotor feel for things. Being able to play certainly gives them that option. They're not just reading and seeing things. So I think my music class in general has that built into it. They're not just reading and seeing things. I think having the videos available for them is certainly a big help. The call and responses that is built into direct instruction that I do, we do, they do is a big part of things. So I think that that certainly is something that I think is a big part of my teaching. I think that maybe I could try and find more things out there. I think there are certainly more resources out there that I could find. There's a lot of stuff out there that I hadn't really looked for. I didn't really look for things like the handout that I just found until I started working on this assignment. That this handout's a great piece of work. I didn't even look for it until just now. So there's a lot of great resources out there that I certainly could look for. So it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of great things that I can start using and just start incorporating as just optional things that students that can use to supplement their own things to help themselves. Again, my time in class is limited, so I really have to be careful as to what I pick and choose to do, but I can allow students plenty of opportunities to do what they can. What I tell them is the truth. They're going to get out of it what they put into it. And I ask the question right at the beginning of class. How many of you want to have band class every day? And frequently they say, we would love to have band every day. I said, great. You have that chance. Too bad you only get to see me twice a week. But take that opportunity. You have my Canvas page. I provide you what I can, and I'll try and provide you as much as I can. But use it. Use the things that I give you, and take the opportunity to do it every day. Now, how might the changes improve the experience of all the students in my class? Well, same answer. Truth of the matter is, in music class, we're all L2 students. Music is the language of all its own. So, that's pretty much the answer I have. And as a music teacher, that's the best answer I have. It's, we're all second language learners when we get to music class, and I hope that what I've given here isn't too much of a run on, and I hope that it makes sense, and that it serves its purpose. Thanks for your time. I'll see you again soon, I'm sure.